Well, what's going on now is the governor taking his time to sign those lines on the various bills that are being presented to him by the Attorney General and, of course, the majority leader, and much later, of course, the Speaker of the Assembly, House of Assembly, will also.
The right, the Honorable Speaker of the State House of Assembly, the Deputy Speaker, the leader and principal officers of the State House of Assembly, members of the State House of Assembly, chairman of our great party, members of the State Executive Council, gentlemen of the press, ladies and gentlemen. Let me, on behalf of the Executive Council and on behalf of the government and people of the state, most sincerely, with gratitude, thank the Speaker and members of the House for knowing fully well what is expected and what our people want. They have expeditiously passed these 5 bills into law, which I have just assented to, particularly the value added tax law, number 4 of 2021, the open rearing and grazing prohibition law, number 5 of 2021, and of course the child rights amendment law, number 2 of 2021. I said particularly because of the importance of these laws. That does not mean that the other laws are not important. As I say, of particular. Just recently, the Federal High Court gave judgment that it is the responsibility of the state to collect VAT, what people may refer to the value-added tax. It has been an issue of controversy in this country, but we are standing on the path of history that we, as representatives of the state, have to take the bull by the horn to challenge the illegality of the federal government through the Federal Inland Revenue Services. Of course, we're all aware that the states have already been strangulated. Most states depend on allocation from federation accounts. States have been turned to beggars. Hardly will any day pass that you will see one state or the other going to Abuja to beg for one fund or the other. Recently, the 36 states has to challenge federal government on the monies that were recovered to the tune of $700 million because according to the states, those monies are supposed to go into the federation account to be shared by the three tiers of government. That is the federal government, the state government, and the local government. But what tells you is that the states are already frustrated. Except for the federation account, nothing less, nothing more happens or that gets to the states. And I want to commend you for standing on the side of history by rising up to the occasion in obeying the judgment of the Federal High Court to see that the Rivers State government collects taxes in the state in order to enhance the development of the state. Federal Inland Revenue Services has carried out the agenda publicity, blackmail, to making sure that other states do not support the idea of states collecting VAT. They've gone as far as hiring consultants from the Price Waterhouse to say that 30 states will suffer if states are allowed to collect VAT. But that's not the issue. First of all, the issue is who is responsible or whose duty it is to collect VAT. Let's talk about the constitutionality of it first, before I talk about who is going to suffer or who is not going to suffer. Is it your responsibility to collect? If you know that the states are going to suffer, for example, but it is not their responsibility, then you now ask, what do we do to amend it to make sure that states do not suffer? But if, as it is today, the law is whose responsibility it is to do this job, that is a simple thing. And again, that propaganda cannot work unless to those states who do not understand the antics of Federal Inland Revenue Service. You claim that through VAT, you distribute funds to states. Take, for example, you distribute 300 million naira, for example, to state A. And that if this is not done, state A will suffer. That is not correct. It's not correct. Now, if you allow state A to collect the funds, state A will make more than 300 million naira that you are giving to them every month. Take, for example, we awarded contracts, companies. Within the last month, we paid over 30-something billion naira to contractors. And 7.5% we now deducted from that and to be given to FRS. Now look at 7.5% of our 35 billion naira. Contract we awarded to companies in Rivers State. Right? You are talking about almost 3 billion naira only from that source. Right? Now at the end of the month, Rivers State government have never received up to 2 billion naira from VAT. So you are taking, I have contributed more through the award of contracts, and you are giving me less. What's the justification for it? And you are selling dummy to people. Who is going to buy that? Yesterday, I overheard the chairman of Federal Inland Revenue Service saying that they are going to introduce road tax. That usually this road tax, which of the roads? Is it the roads that the state government is paying for, or the road that federal government has constructed? So at the end of the day, they have taken over the whole functions of the state government, and the state is left with nothing but to just every month to ask the Commissioner of Finance and Accountant General, when are you going to FAC? No state can function without FAC. As I speak to you, They are supposed to hold FARC yesterday. They couldn't hold. Why? They are cooking up their documents. We're monitoring to FARC for us to share. So if we don't go to FARC, no state will survive. Is that the way it's supposed to be? Certainly not. So we have taken the bull by the horn to say, no, enough is enough. If we are operating a federal system, let us operate a federal system. If we're not operating a federal system, let us say we're not operating a federal system. What we are doing has nothing to do with party. It does not matter whether you're APC or you're in PDP. By the grace of God, the greatest beneficiary of this will be APC states, like Lagos, like Ogun State. But, of course, we shouldn't say because they are going to benefit more. But what is the law? We must obey what the law says. If the law says, do this, this is the person that has to do this, let them allow the person to do it. So there's no blackmail that can change us. There's no intimidation. I hear, oh, they're going to make sure they reverse it. That is not our business. We are not doing it because we want to win. We are doing it because what is not legal is not legal. And somebody has to rise to the occasion to challenge the illegalities in this country. And I'm happy that Rivers State has done it. And if they continue union reform, we'll challenge it. But history will be on our side that when things were going on wrong, we stood up to say, no, these are not things that are supposed to be done. And that's why I want to commend you seriously for rising up to the occasion to say, look, we agree, and we must have to obey the courts, the court judgment. So I want to thank you sincerely. I want to talk about autonomy, financial autonomy of legislature, financial autonomy of judiciary. How will we get it? Merely depending on fair allocation, waiting for them to tell us this month you are going to get 10 billion naira. So if you say so, you are talking about judicial autonomy, you are talking about legislative autonomy. How does it come? How will the financial autonomy come? When we cannot on our own raise our own funds. Every governor now wakes up in the morning, then they go to Abuja, shake hands with Mr. President. Mr. President, I had a flood problem. It will cost me 300 million naira. That's what the governor will leave his state to go to federal government to say, Mr. President, I have this problem of 300 million. And Mr. President will say, okay, I will do it for you. Then he comes out from Mr. President's office, he addresses the press. As I speak to you now, Mr. President is doing well for this country. I mean, what kind of system, what kind of country are we talking about? So the state have emasculated, nobody can say anything, nobody can do anything. You must go and beg. What about those of us who don't have the contact? I don't even know the phone numbers of those that will reach. So what will happen to Rivers State? Enough is enough. If the country, we are talking about democracy, what is democracy? Without rule of law. What is rule of law? Without relying, obeying on the constitution of the land. So, if you know what you've done, you've created history for yourself, it doesn't matter whatever they will do. Let them go to the appellate court and set it aside. It's their business. Let them go to the Supreme Court and set it aside. It's their business. But let it be. We have done what we're supposed to do. Those of them that are supposed to say, yes, this is the correct position, and they say they will not do it, let it be left with them with their conscience. But that we cannot allow this thing come. How can you say you are taking 4% because of the structures yourself to collect this revenue? What is the structure? And the state government is paying to contractors, we are deducting the money. Then we are remitting it to you. So tell me what work you did. This is fraud. This is fraud. How can you tell me 4% of collection charges, operations? What is operation? Okay, let's take that from the initial time, software of this and that, yes? After that, what happens? What happened? Did you set up the software for us in the state? So people must come out to speak true. If any state is not in support of this, then we must check. Something must be fundamentally wrong with the leadership of that state. If any state government does not support this, then we have to check that the citizens of that state have to go and re-examine what is going on with their leadership. So I want to sincerely thank you, and we are going to stand by it. And today I've told the chairman of the River State Revenue Services to send demand notices to all the companies. And of course, we are going to forward today our letter to Mr. Speaker for the withholding tax. And I urge you, with the speed you pass this value-added tax, to also do the same for the interests of the people of the state. I'm not going to be governor forever. My term is almost expiring. But people will come. When the next government comes, what are they going to use for any development purpose? What are they going to do? Just to be dependent on federal government. Now we're talking about oil. If they are passed the Petroleum Industry Act, and which has unbundled NNPC, so it's no longer going to be the same in tax of what NNPC will remit to the Federation account. Every state has to look inward on how to survive. All those areas that the law allows us to collect revenue, we will make sure we do that for the survival of our state. Those states that say no, they will shut their eyes because they are in government, I wish them good luck. I wish them good luck. Let me also commend you for the open rearing and grazing prohibition law. It is no longer a story. All of us know what our people have suffered in terms of this open grazing. Today, all Nigerians have come to accept the reality. Open grazing is no longer fashionable. Even our brothers in the north have agreed. So many of them have agreed that yes, it's no longer fashionable. We must have to say, look, you cannot allow these herdsmen, cattle are going to our farms to destroy our farmland, having problems with our farmers, fighting, killing themselves. No, we cannot. When people don't want to face the reality, it is not this poor cattle there that own the cattle. These are big men who own the cattle. So people should speak the truth. Cattle rearing is agriculture. It's business. If you want to do business, you must fashion a way how to carry out your business. You cannot do your own business for another person to suffer. Nobody says that you don't need cattle or cow. No, it's not correct. You cannot. You need it. You need them. But in doing that too, we cannot allow people to be killed. We cannot allow crops to be destroyed. The farmer is dependent on his own crops for survival. So we must find a way. And that tells you that if you want to, there's nothing wrong in you having right. There's nothing wrong. Federal government, if they want to settle this problem, they know they can settle the problem. They know. So I commend you for this. And I thank God and all those Catholic leaders who are here understand the fact that we are trying to mitigate to see we don't have conflict between them and the farmers. So I will commend you. And this is in line with the resolution of the governor from the southern Nigeria. The Child Rights Amendment Law, my wife has said I should thank you for the speedy passage of this amendment. With this, the family law will have to commence immediately. I know that this amendment has delayed the commencement of the family court. So she has told me to extend appreciation to you for this speedy passage of the Child Rights Amendment Law. And then also the naming and renaming of infrastructure law. Of course, I mean, if we have identified prominent sons and daughters of Rivers State who in their own time have made contribution to the development of the state, and we thought it fit or deemed it necessary that we must have to honor them by naming certain infrastructure against their name, then it is proper that it must be put into law. Not a situation where somebody comes tomorrow, so I change this name. No. Before you do that, you need to amend that law. And people will ask a question, why are you changing this name? So we felt that it is important for whatever infrastructure we have named in favor of our prominent sons and daughters, it is necessary that it is backed up by law. And from time to time, we'll seek for the amendment of this because of naming of infrastructures in favor of our prominent sons and daughters who in their own way have contributed to the development of our state. And of course, the Residence Restoration Agency law. This was because of the insecurity ravaging this country. Of course, you know, people wake up in the morning, live wherever they are, and come into the state. Somebody comes into this house, you don't even know who is there. So it is important that when you come into the state, in the 2 weeks or 3 weeks, for 1 week, you must register, let people know that so person has come into the state. So we set up an agency and provide the necessary logistics for them, for people to register. Of course, if you don't register, the law has spelled out the penalties against you. These are nothing to do with population. No. But these are to do with, because of the issue of insecurity that's ravaging the entire country. So we must also be up and doing to see that we provide opportunities how anybody who comes in will know that Mr. Z is in, Mrs. B is there. This is the work he or she does. This person will stay for 1 month or 2 months, as the case may be. Landlords will take note of, look, how many people in this house? I rented this house to Mr. Z, but there are 15 people in this house now who are there, and government will be able to know, so that we'll begin to know who has come in, who is leaving. It has not to do, it has no conflict with the functions of the population commission. No, it has not. So that people should understand it. This is not counting the hairs of people, but rather this is knowing people who have come into the state and where they are living, so that we'll be able to trace or track whoever may be involved in one crime or the other. Once more, on behalf of the Executive Council, let me thank the Speaker again and his team for a job well done, and say that the synergy between the legislature and the executive is for the interest of our state. It is not for anybody's particular interest. It is for the general interest of the people of the state. We took this step today to sign these various laws. Let people know. We are not doing it in secret. We are doing it openly. Let Nigerians know that this is our position and this is where we stand. We always believe in standing on the side of history. And when history will be written tomorrow, we will not regret all the actions that we took today. Thank you, and God bless you.
Your Excellency, with your permission, may I respectfully invite the Speaker of the State House of Assembly, Right Honorable Queen Owaji Ifani, to respond.
Your Excellency, the Executive Governor of Rivers State, Nyeso Ezenwa Wike, CON, GSSRS, Power of Sports Africa. Your Excellency, the Deputy Governor of Rivers State, Your Excellency, then Ipalibo Hari Banigu, Principal Officers and members of Rivers State House of Assembly, the State Chairman of the greatest political party in Black Africa, the People's Democratic Party, Secretary to State Government, Head of Service, the Attorney General, other Cabinet Commissioners, here seated, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. Your Excellency, I listened to you with rapt attention, and I'm tempted to believe that Nigeria, the world over, is the only country professing federalism but with a unitary constitution, which is the very opposite of what federalism stands for. But I believe with what you are doing and what the state is doing, laws over time, after 20 years of uninterrupted democratic rule, such laws will be tested in the court of law. And that is what will give teeth and meaning to future generation and the future of Nigeria in comparative perspective when we talk of federalism and democracy. Having said that, Your Excellency, let me say that experts have also argued that extreme poverty brings about destitution, and when you are extremely poor, that is a trap. And in that trap, it is difficult for the poor to come out of it. That can be seen in one of the books by Jeffrey Sachs, The End of Poverty. The same thing applicable for institutions like the state. When the state does not have money to take care of the needs, the well-being of the people, the state will be poor and will go into destitution. But all that you are trying to lead us for us to have a change so that our people, our state, cannot go into extreme poverty. On behalf of Rivers State House of Assembly, let me commend you. The type of leadership you are giving to Rivers people. The bills that we passed, now laws of the state that you have assented to, if you look at them, even anyone who is not here, listening and watching what you are doing here, even your enemies will like you. You are not doing it because it is something that is selfish. You are doing it because you want the right thing to be done. As an assembly, we will not hesitate at any point in time to do the needful, do what is right. At every point we look at any bill, be it a private member bill or an executive bill, we look at the content, we place it vis-a-vis the current reality on ground. What is the current reality on ground today in Nigeria? Talk of insecurity, talk of the conflict between herders, farmers, and indigenous people, which the open rearing and grazing prohibition law seeks to cure. This law that you have just assented to is going to cure the symptom and the disease. So I think that for those who are yet to key in, they should know that what we are doing in the state under your leadership is something that transcends time and space. And I want to also say this. The value-added tax law, what is the implication? You have said everything here. How can you make it difficult for a state to collect value-added tax when the state is even the one paying. Like we are awarding contract to contractors, you are spending money of the state, but the money, the value-added tax, the value added to that contract, the money is not taken away from the state. I think it is the worst form of retrogressive tax in any tax regime. So I want to commend you for what you are doing. You are doing it in the interest of the state. As members of Rivers State House of Assembly, we are laborers in the same vineyard. And the laborer is worthy of his wages. The state is worthy of his wages, including you as the governor of Rivers State, and deputy governor of Rivers State, other cabinet commissioners, and members of Rivers State House of Assembly. All of us were worthy of our wages because we are laborers in the vineyard of the Lord. So I thank you for what you are doing, and I know that what you are doing today, history will be very kind and charitable to you. Today you are making history, historians are writing. When you leave, you know you are in position now. People might not want to come and eulogize you, but when you leave, you see the eulogy, and I believe that that is what leadership is all about. You have commended us. We are happy because there is no one, no trader, no businessman will go to a pastor when you are selling your goods and you are making money to come and ask pastor to come and pray for me. Why am I selling? You are commending us because as an assembly, we are doing what we are supposed to do. And we are also giving that back to you because you are doing what you are supposed to do with your cabinet commissioners. You are able deputy governor. I thank you on behalf of members of Rivers State House of Assembly, and will continue to partner in the interest of the state and of the people. Thank you, and may God bless.
Thanks for checking out Symphony on YouTube. Please be sure to subscribe and like our videos for updates.